Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the May 2025 edition of our Global College Spotlight. Each month, we introduce you to a top university outside of the United States where students can pursue full undergraduate degrees that are completely taught in English. Today's Global College Spotlight is featuring Bard College Berlin as a private liberal arts college in Germany. It is affiliated with Bard College in the US and offers exciting interdisciplinary study programs right in the heart of Berlin. At Bard College Berlin, students have the opportunity to earn both an American and a German bachelor's degree. As always, today's Global College Spotlight is hosted by Global College Advisors, and I will share a little bit more about GCA in just a moment. But first, let's go over some housekeeping notes. For anyone who has questions, please know we will have a Q&A session after the presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the chat so we can get to them later. Secondly, the webinar is being recorded and we will post the video on our YouTube channel later on. So please go to the Global College Advisors YouTube channel if you would like to rewatch some of the information that we will share today. To start things off, let's move into some introductions. My name is Cornelia Betschart-Fortes. I'm the founder of Global College Advisors, also GCA in short. At GCA, we connect students with universities across the world, including the United States. We provide personalized college consulting and help students explore both US and international university options to find the best social, academic, and financial fit. From college research to essays and application strategy, we support students every step of the way. So before we learn more about Bard College Berlin, let's take a moment to meet our presenter, Stephanie Hausorder, today. Stephanie will tell us more about the unique opportunity to study at a liberal arts college in the capital of Germany. And she will introduce us to Bard College's interdisciplinary programs in the humanities, practicing arts, and social sciences. Stephanie is the head of admissions at Bard College Berlin, and she's originally from New Mexico. She studied German at a liberal arts college in the US before moving to Germany in 2005. Stephanie has been part of the Bard College Berlin team since 2012. Stephanie, I'm so glad to have you here with us today. I can't wait for you to tell our audience about the amazing programs available at Bard College Berlin. So thank you so much for being here with us. I stop sharing my screen here and we are ready for your presentation.
Great. Well, thank you so much for Cornelia for inviting Bard College Berlin to present today. It's really a pleasure to get to introduce our college to an audience that might not be so familiar yet with options for studying in English at the undergraduate level outside of the US. So first, just a few basics. Bard College Berlin is a private German-American liberal arts college offering four-year bachelor's degrees taught in English on a residential campus in Berlin. So in this presentation that I'm going to take you through in the next 30 minutes or so, I'll give you an overview of the academic programs we offer, which faculty members are teaching in those programs, a bit about student and residential life, as well as how we integrate the city of Berlin into our curriculum. So one way that we differ a lot from German public universities and from many public universities in Europe is in our class sizes. So there are no lecture classes at Bard College Berlin, only seminars. And the average seminar size is 11 students. So this means that the professor really knows each student by name. The students know everyone in class with them. And, because these are discussion-based seminars, you really do need to come to class prepared, having done your reading, because there's nowhere to hide if you've come without preparing for class. But I think that this lends a different quality to the discussion, especially because while we are a small college, we are highly international. And so this means that among those 10 or 11 students sitting in the seminar room, you might have people from 5 or 6 different countries. So what can you study at Bard College Berlin? We are focused on the humanities, arts, and social sciences, as Cornelia mentioned. We offer 3 degree programs, which the names of which you see here on the screen. The newest program is in artistic practice and society. Our longest running BA program is in humanities, the arts, and social thought. And the more social sciences oriented degree is in economics, politics, and social thought. And I'm going to speak in a bit more detail about each of these programs. All of the programs, as I mentioned before, are 4-year programs, as is standard in the United States. And this is because our students do need to meet all of the graduation requirements of Bard College in order to receive the US accredited Bard diploma, which is the same one that's awarded in New York State. This would be just a little bit too much to pack into the standard 3-year European degree. But you'll see also sort of our students are writing a thesis at the end of their studies, and they're quite busy throughout their 4 years. So we'll go over a bit more of the curriculum of each program. So first, I want to mention our BA in Artistic Practice and Society. As I mentioned, this is the newest program. The first cohort entered 2 years ago, and it's growing steadily. So this program is quite unique in Germany and also in Europe because it combines artistic practice with the study of the liberal arts and the study of art history and art theory. So students do spend a lot of their time making art, but they are not completely giving up the theoretical part of their education, as well as some of the breadth that you gain through liberal arts education. The main areas that are offered in this program are studio arts, performing arts, and audiovisual arts. So this is a look at the 4 years of the APS program, as we call it for short. You can see these black boxes. These represent the core courses that are taken by every student at the college, regardless of whether they're studying arts or economics. So this is a common experience. And the core curriculum is a chronological journey through intellectual history aimed at giving students an understanding of where the academic disciplines we have today came from. How did we end up with, this discipline called literature or politics or, art history? So this is what the core aims at doing. The red courses are required for this particular program. So you can see that every semester, anywhere you see a course that says artistic practice, this will be a class where students are making art. And the kinds of arts courses that we regularly have on offer include painting, drawing, collage, sculpture, marble sculpture, glass blowing, ceramics, photography, theater, dance, sound art, and we're adding every semester. So for the upcoming fall semester, we actually have a porcelain course, which is something that you really don't find in many places, but because of our location in Berlin, we are able to access artists and teachers who work with our students. So in addition to making art, they're also building up their understanding of art history, how art connects with the world around it. They take a deep dive into individual artists or individual artistic movements. And in addition, these gray boxes represent either German language study or elective courses that the students can take. An elective course is any course taught at the college. So even a student focusing primarily on arts can take classes in politics or literature or statistics, just to get a sense for different disciplines. Students who do not yet speak the German language are required to learn German to at least an intermediate level by the end of their second year. So this is why you see elective or German here. If students come into the college speaking some German, they can test into a higher level language course and pursue their study all the way to advanced level. Or if they're native speakers or already speak German at an advanced level, they can simply take more elective courses. In the advanced component of the program, students are pursuing the advanced artistic courses, advanced painting, advanced sculpture, advanced photography. And in the fourth year, they spend a big part of that year pursuing their individual thesis project. And for art students in this program in particular, they do both a written thesis, which is shorter than that of their colleagues in the other two programs, but they also have what we call a creative component, which is, an artistic practice part of their thesis. So this might be a series of paintings or photography or a theater production, something that is related to the area of the arts that they have spent a lot of their time pursuing at the college. I wanted to show here just a couple of examples of who's teaching in this program and speak a bit about how this is tied into the city of Berlin, which is a very exciting place to study arts. Our professor of studio arts is John Kleckner, who is a painter himself, also works with ink drawing. He has been painting and exhibiting and working in Berlin for decades now. The architect of this program is Dorothea von Hantelmann, who is a professor of art history with experience in curation in Berlin. So for example, at our new arts facility, she curated an exhibition with professional artists for Berlin Art Week. Then she had the artists come in and have, a special session with our students in the exhibition before it opened to the public, so that they could really get a behind the scenes look from both the curator and the artist of what goes into producing an exhibition for something like Berlin Art Week. In the area of theater and performance, we have Nina Tecklenburg, who, in addition to teaching at Bard College Berlin and pursuing her own research, is part of a performance group called Interrobang, which is doing a lot of really innovative performances here in the city of Berlin. And she's very plugged into the Berlin theater world. This semester, she was teaching a course where the students went into many different Berlin theaters to see productions. So almost every other session, they were in the city, in the theaters, surveying the theater landscape in Berlin, which is quite exciting and includes both state theaters and performances as well as smaller groups like the one that she works with. So this is just a quick glimpse at a few of the professors teaching in this program. I am going to, before we move, well, actually, I guess at the end, I will throw a few links and resources in. One will be of our, our new arts facility, a couple of videos. You can picture where our students are making art and displaying their art at the end of each semester. So the second program I'm going to go into is in Humanities, the Arts, and Social Thought. This program offers 3 different majors. So students in the Humanities program can focus on art and aesthetics, which is art history and the philosophy of art, literature and rhetoric, which is the concentration you're seeing here, or ethics and politics, which goes more in the direction of political theory, political philosophy. All 3 of these majors or concentrations have a similar degree structure. I've selected the literature major here just to give you a sense, because what is particular about the humanities degree is that it is quite flexible. And from the very first semester, students have not one, but two elective courses, which means that they really have the chance to explore many different academic disciplines before they decide what their specialization is going to be. So this student, may be intending to focus on literature, may take a course in literary history in their first semester, but can also take a politics course or an arts course, or more literature if that's what they want to do in addition to their core and their German requirement. I think this is one of the reasons why students in this program often end up with very interesting thesis projects that bring together many different academic areas in their final year. And it is also possible to double major. So some students will combine a literature and rhetoric concentration with ethics and politics, and then go into journalism, for example, just to think of one alumna at the front of my mind in this moment. So yeah, in this program, students are taking the core, they're learning German, they're taking the foundational courses for their area of specialization. They take then more courses at the advanced level in whichever area they've chosen. They write their senior thesis, but you can see that throughout this program, there's a lot of elective choice, a lot of room to explore. So it's a great choice for students who have many different interests and don't want to give up, their politics courses, even though they love to write and focus on literature as well. This program allows you to combine a lot of things. And these are just a few of the professors teaching in this program. I've selected one from each of the areas of specialization. So we have Aya Soika, a professor of art history who earned her PhD at Cambridge and focuses on German art in the 20th century. She curated a very interesting and very talked about exhibition on the painter Emil Nolde at Hamburger Bahnhof a couple of years back, that kind of led to a different understanding of this painter's role during the Second World War. So Aya also has curation experience. She has ties to many of the museums in the cities, and she regularly teaches in these museums. This most recent semester in the fall, she was teaching a course at the Humboldt Forum, which is one of Berlin's newest museums on Museum Island. We have Laura Scuriati, who's one of the literature professors. Her research focuses on the Anglo-American avant-garde and modernism. She also emphasizes feminist aesthetics and life writing. She recently taught a course called Happy in Berlin, looking at, Berlin as a subject of literature, how different writers have lived here, been influenced by the city over the years. So this was an especially popular course among the students, also, having their own Berlin experience. And then we have Eva Atanasov, professor of political thought. Eva teaches a lot of courses in the core curriculum, but she is an expert on Tocqueville, and her research and teaching range across the history of political thought and focus a lot on questions of nationhood and democratic citizenship, which is, very, very prescient at this moment. And she has a lot of courses that, the students can really identify with. So the more social sciences focused degree that we offer is in economics, politics, and social thought. This program, because students need to get completely up to speed with all of the foundations in both economics and political science, has, you might see more red on this slide, meaning there are just more required courses in the first 2 years to get students to the point where they can then take advanced courses in economics or in politics, depending on what they decide. So there are fewer gray boxes here. They, may not take as many electives, but it is also possible to take more than the required 4 courses. So some of my student workers in the economics and politics program who, really wanted to take that photography or theater course did add it on to their economics and politics course load. Similarly to the other programs, students are writing a thesis in their final year. They are guided in that by a research seminar that all of the graduating students take. And this course really is helpful because for most students, it's the first time that they're working on a large-scale, year-long research project. This course guides them in how to structure that research, how to work with citing it properly. Students present their progress. So it's a great way for them not to be left alone with this really big project at the end of their studies, but to feel supported both in their research methods and also by their fellow graduating students. These are a couple of the professors teaching in this program. Boris Forman is actually one of the foremost commentators here in Germany on US politics, and he is the co-founder of a new democracy institute here in Berlin. He works at the intersection of comparative political economy and focuses on the role of the state in globalization and urbanization processes, as well as on nations and nationalism and the crisis of democracy. Gail Raj is another politics professor focusing on labor governance and global production networks. She is looking in her research more towards Asia, so bringing in perspectives from the global south. And on the side of economics, the director of the economics program is Israel Weichmann, whose research and teaching focuses on using experiments to study issues related to environmental economics and sustainability. So a lot of our econ students have actually gone on to programs focusing more on environmental policy, public policy in the field of climate. We have this tie to environment and sustainability in our economics program. So I've spoken a lot about the academics and what students are doing, on campus in the seminar rooms. I tried to highlight that really in all 3 of the programs, Berlin is part of the experience. So our professors are very good about bringing the city into their courses and bringing the students into the city. So, beyond their study of German and living here in the city, our students really have the chance to see the city as an academic resource. Class will often take place in museums. If it's an art history course, then they are able to stand in front of the original work instead of looking at a slide. If it's a politics course, they might have a session at a historical site. The arts courses are often held in cooperation with other artists or researchers or policymakers. So our location in Berlin gives our students access to a vast range of academic and professional resources that exist outside of just the college itself, and we cooperate with a lot of guest faculty, guest lecturers. Our location has the advantage of many people wanting to pass through, and we make sure to bring them out to our campus when they do that. In the 3rd year of the program, you might have seen on the other slides, students have the option to either study abroad for up to 2 semesters or to complete an internship. So our study abroad works through 2 main networks. We have partners in the European Erasmus Network, which include 3 of the Dutch university colleges in Amsterdam, Utrecht, and Leiden, all of the campuses of Sciences Po in France, the University of Bologna for economics in Italy, University of Malmö in Sweden for human rights. And this is a network that is always expanding and growing. That's the great thing about the Erasmus network. The other main network for study abroad is, of course, the BARD network. So students can spend up to 2 semesters on BARD's main campus in Annandale-on-Hudson, about 2 hours north of New York City, or they can also spend a semester in New York City, where BARD also has housing and teaching facilities, and where they offer an internship program as well. So students in this special New York program can be placed in an internship in their area of interest in New York City and take evening classes. Many of our students, however, are already studying abroad by being in Berlin, and they don't necessarily want to give up a semester or two to go elsewhere. And so for those students, they also have the chance to intern in the city of Berlin in their area of interest and to also take an academic course alongside that, which allows them to obtain academic credit for their internship. This is nice because most internships in Berlin tend to be unpaid. So this way, at least the students are getting academic credit. Our careers office has partnerships with organizations all over the city in every area linked to the academics at the college. And they work with students then to find a placement where they work 8 to 10 hours a week and then also take this internship course alongside it. I mentioned in the very beginning that we are a residential campus. So we believe that this is part of the learning experience, and students are required to live on campus for the first 2 years. This allows them, to connect to their fellow students, to find their new friends and community, also to be close to their teaching spaces. All of our residence halls are located in the neighborhood where the college is, 5 to 10 minute walk from all of the teaching buildings. So students really have kind of the peace of mind to focus on their studies their first 2 years when they're still in this transition phase, moving away from home. All of the housing on our campus is apartment style. So we don't have any dormitories the way we would find them in the United States, but what we have instead are shared flats. So a typical student apartment would be shared by 4 to 6 students. It has a common living room. It has a common kitchen in every apartment, which is fully outfitted, and then single or double rooms that are fully furnished. Many of our students are coming from outside of Germany and even outside of Europe in many cases. So the apartments are completely furnished and they can arrive with just their 1 or 2 suitcases. They'll have basically everything they need to start. Students who live on campus also have a full meal plan Monday through Friday. On the weekends, they do have the chance to cook for themselves in their own kitchens or to explore the food scene in Berlin, where you can find just about anything you'd like to eat on a fairly good student budget. One other thing I wanted to take just a moment to mention is the civic engagement program, which is an important part of the BARD experience. Um, you know, One focus of a BARD education is on tying the liberal arts to participation in civic life. And in Berlin, we try to do this at several levels. So at the campus level, at the level of our neighborhood, the level of Berlin, and then globally. So at the campus level, student initiatives have focused a lot on sustainability, like this gardening initiative, on reducing food waste and recycling, as well as, more efficiently using the heating in the buildings during the winter. These are some of the campus initiatives that our students have started and run. They're guided by our colleagues in the Civic Engagement Office. So if a student has a project idea that they would like to start. These colleagues are there to help them design the project, get it off the ground, to offer mentoring. It's also possible to apply for some funding and how to structure the project so that ideally it lives on even after the student graduates. Some of the neighborhood initiatives have focused on English conversation courses for the neighbors, because our campus is located in what was East Berlin at one time. Many of our older neighbors never had the chance to learn English in school. They learned Russian. So they have been happy to come and practice their English along with neighborhood kids who, are getting some additional practice in their schoolwork. On the level of the city, the Civic Engagement Department will participate in citywide initiatives like cleanup efforts, handing out food to the homeless, or um, participating in district initiatives like the Days Against Racism, pro-democracy initiatives. So these are a few ways that we engage with our larger neighborhood and city. On the global level, we cooperate a lot, of course, with BARD in the United States, but also with partner campuses around the world. And there are some jointly taught courses that incorporate students from, Berlin, Vienna, New York, um, Colombia, and Bishkek all at the same time. So these students are taking the same course, and then they'll have coordinated sessions where students in these different locations with their different experiences can all contribute on the same topic. There's also an annual civic engagement conference that students can apply to attend, where they then are brought together for a week in a location. They get to present their projects, they take part in workshops, and gain some additional skills in project design and project management. So this is a great opportunity to, obtain some initial professional skills for the students during their studies. Aside from the civic engagement, we of course just have regular student clubs. These differ every semester depending on what the students are interested in. It's everything from hiking, running, swimming, to a t-shirt making club. This is a picture of one of our student workers who has an initiative aimed at helping Afghan women. So there's always quite a lot going on. There's a few campus bands and poetry and film clubs. So our students like to get together and do things outside of their studies. As a residential campus, we also provide support that goes beyond academic support. So we have a student life team that is there to support students with everything related to, living on their own for the first time, many of them settling in Germany. So we have a health and wellness officer who helps students to find doctors in the city, to obtain counseling if that's what they look for. We also work with a team of mental health counselors for students. We have professional residential life staff who are there to help sort out roommate issues and who also do social programming. So there's a lot of support there for students, just to make sure that the residential component of their BARD experience is also running smoothly. This is just a quick look at what some of our students are doing after graduation. So this shows, this is aggregate data from 3 years on what students are doing 1 year after graduation. Most of them are going on to graduate school, and we have quite a good track record of placing students in some of the best universities in the world, often with full funding. 2 years ago, we had our first Rhodes Scholar, but actually for the past 3 years, we've placed a student at Oxford. We have students at all of the main public universities in Berlin as well. The tuition-free master's programs offered there are a great option for many of our students who want to stay in Berlin after their studies. And we've just finalized a partnership with the Hertie School, a private university, in offering public policy degrees in English in the city of Berlin. So students in either the humanities or the economics and politics programs can now opt into this 5-year track that allows them to graduate in 5 years with both a bachelor's from Bard College Berlin and a master's from the Humanities School. We're working on a similar partnership with one of the business schools in the city as well. A lot of students, we've made this a separate category here, studying unemployed, because this includes students who work not just a student job, but who are working 20 to 30 hours, putting themselves through their graduate programs. And this is a substantial portion of our graduates who are doing that, including several members of my staff. There are also a lot of students who opt to first gain some professional experience before continuing their education. And here it depends a lot on which program they've graduated from and perhaps the professional experience they've gained along the way through an internship or a student job. But these are just a few of the employers that our students have found entry-level jobs with in the last couple of years. So everything from the arts with the Berlin Biennale to development cooperation with the German GIZ, journalism, working also at the European level for the European Commission. And we also have students working, in the areas of consulting or for private companies. So there's a lot of opportunities for them depending on which track they've come out of. A quick look at what a degree at Bard College Berlin costs. So I'm showing you the dollar version. We of course set and charge and bill our fees in euros, but just to make it a bit more digestible for this audience, the fee in this year for students living on campus was $37,815. So this includes tuition, living on campus, and meals Monday through Friday, as well as a public transit pass that gives students access to the entire Berlin transport network. If students move off campus in the second part of their degree, you can see that the fee is reduced by around $10,000. So applying to Bard College Berlin, there are a few ways. We are a member of the Common Application. So if students are using the Common App to prepare their other college applications, they can simply add us to their colleges and submit their application that way. For students perhaps not using the Common App, we do also have our own direct application form. We ask for pretty standard materials. So there's the online application form, either the Common App or our own. We ask for a motivation statement, which is different from the Common App essay about why students want to study at Bard College Berlin. Something that's perhaps not so common is a graded writing sample. So here we would like to see an example, an essay or a paper that a student has written in school with the graded feedback. This gives us a lot of insight not only into how they're writing, but also what they're reading in school, how it's been evaluated by their teachers, the kind of feedback they're getting. We ask for 2 letters of recommendation from teachers. We accept up to 4 recommendation letters. So if there is a counselor recommendation or a community organization or an employer, students are welcome to submit those in addition to the 2 teacher recommendations. Official transcripts, of course, and mid-year grades. And then an interview, which is not strictly required, but is highly encouraged because it gives us more context for what's on the paper. It's also a chance for students to ask us questions and to learn more about the college. So it's more of a mutual getting to know each other, understanding a bit more about the students' plans and interests and why they see themselves at Bard College Berlin. We work with 3 application deadlines. I have neglected to put these onto a slide, but I'll put them into the chat. So we offer an early action deadline on November 1st. This is not a binding application plan, but students who apply November 1st will have their decision before the end of December, and will still have until May 1st to make their decision. January 15th is our regular decision deadline. Students who apply then will have their admission decision by mid-March typically. This is the deadline that I would recommend for any student interested in applying for financial aid or scholarships. They should be sure to apply by regular decision at the latest. And primarily for students coming out of European public schools, we offer a late admission deadline on May 1st. So typically, while students based in the US can apply for this deadline, it's really more for the Europeans who don't even think of applying to university until much later in the year. So I think I will stop there, and I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you have. I'll stop sharing my screen as well so that we can see each other a bit better.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. That was really great information. Let me just put on our last slide. For everyone maybe who wants to get in contact with Bard College or just wants to learn more. So thank you. That was an awesome presentation. Thanks so much, Stephanie. I see.
I'm just going to put a few resources into the chat
That's
maybe
great,
while
actually.
we're waiting for a
Yeah,
couple of questions.
Exactly.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, so that link is to a video of our new monopole arts facilities. You can see what what these facilities look like and the kind of art that students are working on. I'm also going to put the link to our general YouTube presence in.
Oh yeah, that would be
a lot
great.
of videos here of the teaching spaces, of the student apartments, of events that are going on at the college. So this is a really good resource for just getting a bit more of a visual impression of what's going on here. Another really great place to keep up with things that are going on at the college is on Instagram. So we have a couple of TikTok ambassadors as well. You can find us on TikTok, but we also post all of the TikTok videos here on Instagram. So this is just a great place to see kind of, what's going on a weekly basis at the college and who our students are and what they're up to.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I don't see any questions so far. Oh, hold on. One question is in here.
Are there specific math
yeah, are there
requirements?
specific math requirements? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to say something to that? Are there, because for European courses, there's often a specific math level, I guess. So maybe that's where that question comes from. Is there a certain level that students need to reach in order to be admissible to?
So because we are accredited both in the United States and at the national level in Germany, we award 2 degrees. And this means that we have a bit more flexibility than some other German public universities when it comes to admitting students. But if a student wants to be eligible for German university entrance and they're coming from the US diploma system, they will need to take at least up to trigonometry, pre-calculus, in order to be considered for university entrance. For our program specifically, the one program where we look a bit closer at a student's math background, what level of math they've taken and how they've done in those courses, is for students who have applied for the economics and politics program. So there we're looking to see that a student has, reached a more advanced level of math, at least to pre-calculus, if not to calculus, and that they've had a solid foundation in Algebra 2. This is just important for, as a background for the economics courses. For the arts and the humanities courses, there are no specific courses that we're looking for when evaluating students for admission.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Regarding the you mentioned trigonometry and pre-calculus as a prerequisite. You mean if that's only a prerequisite if someone wants to get a German bachelor's degree? Did I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So if I'm just an American student, happy with an American degree, but wanted to study that in Berlin, then I'm fine if I reach a level to pre-calculus or something like that.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, perfect. And I actually had a question for you. You mentioned when you were talking about the tuition fee and or the overall fee actually. Um, in terms of scholarships, do you have special scholarships for international students and for US students? Are you a FAFSA school? In meaning, can they take, are there FAFSA loans transferable to your university in Germany?
Yes, thank you so much for asking that question. So, the short answer is yes. We students who are eligible for U.S. federal grants and loans can use that funding at Bard College Berlin. Um, we also offer institutional aid, need-based financial aid, and need and merit-based scholarships. In general, all institutional aid and scholarships is open to students, regardless of their citizenship. Um, I'm looking now for the link to our scholarship page, which I'll drop into the chat in just a moment.
Mhm.
So while we don't have a specific scholarship for American students, there are a couple of scholarships that I think students watching this webinar might qualify for. One is an AP Capstone Scholarship. So if we have students um, pursuing the AP Capstone program,
Mhm.
they would certainly qualify for that. We also have a dedicated IB scholarship if there are students in the International Baccalaureate program. Um, we have scholarships for students who have pursued study of the German language in high school, and we offer scholarships for every area that we teach in at the college. So students who maybe have been really involved in their student newspaper and journalism could qualify for a scholarship in literary arts. Students who've been very involved in the arts during high school could qualify for scholarship in aesthetics, for instance. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to finance Bard College Berlin education, and actually the majority of our students are receiving some level of aid either from the college or from their home governments to help
Mhm.
finance their education.
Yeah, well, from what you were saying, there are definitely a lot of scholarships available, especially when my eyes were lighting up when I heard AP Capstone because many students from the US, they do the AP curriculum, have AP research and the whole AP Capstone curriculum. And sometimes if they apply to the European schools, they can't really use those. So that is awesome that you're kind of using that for scholarships, for example.
Yes.
Um, Another question I had regarding switching majors. So you have these three majors you were introducing, and within the majors, you have the certain concentrations. So if a student, they obviously have to declare a major or they have to declare the direction they want to go into when they apply to your university. Um, since they're all participating in the core curriculum in the beginning, is it easier for them if they say like, oh, I actually like this other major better? Is that then an option for them to change?
Yes, definitely. So students at Bard College Berlin actually don't formally declare what their major is until their fourth semester.
Okay.
So it is also possible to apply undecided to our college, but the majority of students do select, a degree program that when they apply. Um, yes, so this selection of a specialization happens through a process called moderation in their fourth semester, which is something I really wish that I had had as an undergraduate. The students, it kind of forces them to stop halfway through their degree and they write one paper reflecting on their time at the college to date, the courses they've taken, the themes they've explored. And they write also a second paper looking ahead to their remaining time at the college, where they might like to study abroad, ideas for a potential thesis project maybe, and also, of course, the area they see themselves specializing in. So they do have time to make this decision. And let's say they enter the program as an economics and politics student, but discover, they do really want to pursue more of the humanities. They can easily just change their
Switch them.
enrollment to the other program. They don't need to reapply.
That's great to know. And lastly, do you have a certain GPA requirements from US students? Maybe overall, actually, but in terms of US students, are you looking for a certain GPA that their application is competitive enough to have a chance?
Yeah, so we don't have like a required minimum GPA, and this is because we really take the rigor of a curriculum into account. So if we see a US student pursuing an AP capstone program or pursuing an IB diploma program, which is, not at all standard in the United States, um, that's going to count for a lot with us. And, that will be valued more than like a 4.2 GPA in standard level courses. So we're looking at the whole picture when it comes to academics, and also because we receive and evaluate applications from all around the world, we really just have to take these one by one. And this is part of the reason we ask for the graded writing sample, because writing is the main form of assessment, and we need to see how a student writes, but it also really gives us a lot of insight into the level of work they've been doing in high school. And we can tell then when a student is coming from a very challenging curriculum, maybe with a very rigorous grading system. And that gives us a lot of insight into what's on the transcript. So this is why we don't have any kind of a blanket minimum GPA. But I will say, most successful applicants coming from the United States would have a GPA of 3.5 or higher.
Okay, well, that's helpful to have some kind of a guideline, so that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Well, we have reached the end of today's Global College Spotlight. A big thank you to everyone who joined us, and of course to Stephanie for introducing us to Bard College Berlin and its fantastic programs. Before I let you all go, I have a quick update. We will continue introducing liberal arts colleges in Europe. And for our next Global College Spotlight on June 9th, we will have Erasmus University College from the Netherlands here as our guest. It's an honors college where students can also specialize in the life sciences as part of the college's liberal arts and science curriculum. So please mark your calendar and join us for our June Global College Spotlight to learn more about Erasmus University College in Rotterdam. And yeah, with that, I wish everyone a wonderful day or evening, depending on where you are. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in June. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.